Lots of people go on and bitch about the 9 to 5 rat race. But if you mention something like self-sufficiency as being the way out, they start to picture a cabin in the woods, miles from civilization, with no way in or out other than maybe 2 weeks on foot through 20-foot drifts and snowshoes. So while they hate commuting 2 hours per day through bad traffic, just to be stuck in a cubicle for 8 hours, and are doing that over and over and over again for 40 years until they finally retire to live the good life, they won't take the responsibility of being self-sufficient, since they don't realize that being self-reliant doesn't have to mean ditching civilization forever. But it can mean freedom from the lies that we've all been told about the American dream. So we're getting into all those lies and how self-sufficiency can help you escape the 9 to 5 rat race without moving off the grid. It's all coming up on Renegade News. Welcome back to Renegade News. I'm your host, Glenn Kowalski. Every week on this channel, you'll hear the latest news and strategies on how to break free from the system, pay less tax, and live anywhere in the world you want. So let's get right into it. The more self-sufficient and self-reliant you are, the less reliant you have to be on having a job, and the less you have to rely on the banks, and the less that you need to be a slave to the dictates of corporate America. And freedom from slavery is possible for almost everyone if they do the opposite of what we've been told with the American dream. So the first thing that you have to do is get out of debt. Debt equals slavery. Debt obviously costs more due to the interest that you have to pay on a loan, but it also ties you to the system. There's a few ways to get out of debt. One of the best ways is by consolidating your debts and your credit card, but that is only going to work if you have the discipline to stop yourself from using that credit card and getting back into it. I know people who have frozen their credit cards in a block of ice so that it's still available in an emergency, but they can't just grab it. Speaking of getting out of debt, you really should reduce your reliance on the banking system entirely. Did you know that it was possible to create a special type of bank account that lets you finance your home, cars, your business expenses, and a bunch more, where instead of costing you interest, you're actually earning tax-free income? And you can get those loans, without credit checks or without damaging your credit, even if you happen to miss payments. I'll put a link to more information to this special type of bank account in the pinned comments below this video. Next, you really want to start to grow and store your own food. Supply chain and food shortages are a real possibility due to all the financial fallout of the pandemic, and they're already starting to show up in certain places. But you can avoid the problems that come with that by easily growing your own food, even if you live in the city or even if you live in an apartment. It doesn't take much space to create a container garden or to create a raised bed garden. You can start with just a herb garden and begin to learn, and then you can grow from there. Next, you want to reduce your reliance on the monetary system. Cryptocurrency has moved more people out of poverty than anything in our lifetimes, possibly more than anything in history. But more importantly, it frees you from relying on the banking system that determines what you can spend your money on, where you can spend it, and they can even limit access to your own funds for any reason. Next, you want to create an income that doesn't rely on working for somebody else. And you want to learn skills that are useful to others and even maybe ones that you can barter. I could do an entire video series on these and probably will at some point, but start thinking about your existing skills and figure out how you can use it to solve other people's problems. If you don't have any skills that you think you can use, today is the best time to start learning them. And you can learn just about anything online. Maybe it's doing mechanical work or being a handyman, or my favorite, starting an online business. Whatever it is, start now before it becomes vital. Next, you really want to diversify internationally. Contrary to popular belief, it's not illegal to open offshore bank accounts. It's not illegal to get second residency and second citizenships. And they're not only for the rich. In fact, they are one of the best ways to become completely self-sufficient, because now you have the confidence in knowing that you always have a plan B and somewhere to go. We've created a free playbook that'll help you take the first steps to create this plan B, and you can grab it for absolutely free by following the link in that first pinned comment. Next, learn common survival skills, like how to start a fire, how to navigate without a GPS using a compass, and where and how to find water. How long would you last if you were lost in the woods or if critical infrastructure collapsed in your city? For most people, it's maybe 2 or 3 days at the most, which is absolutely terrifying. It doesn't take long to learn how to read a map, how to find food in the wilderness, and how to read a compass. But if the time comes and you need those skills and you have them, it can save your life. Next, get healthy and get in shape, because if your health isn't your first priority, you'll always be a slave to the medical and the pharmaceutical systems. Getting healthy and in shape isn't going to protect you from everything, obviously. But regardless of what health or emergency issues you run into down the line, the healthier and stronger you are when you face them, the better off you're going to be. Next, speaking of health, learn to defend yourself. Being self-sufficient means looking after yourself when you're faced with one or more attackers. Learn jiu-jitsu, which is my favorite form of self-defense for one attacker, and you can do it at any age. Or train for Krav Maga, which is my favorite martial art for multiple attackers and for life or death situations. Best of all, learn how to use a gun, which is the ultimate form of self-defense. Next, become better at do-it-yourself stuff. Instead of spending your evenings watching Netflix, bring up a YouTube video on fixing your car or doing some repairs around the house, or even working out in the yard. That way, the next time something breaks, you're not going to have to call, wait for, and then pay for a repairman. Because isn't that really the ultimate form of self-reliance, to be able to do those things for yourself? Finally, make your home more self-sufficient by adding solar panels, backup water, and even potentially alternative sewer systems. That way, if you ever lose or quit your job, or if the grid suddenly goes down, you're going to have significantly fewer bills to pay, meaning you're not going to feel as trapped working for that pain in the ass of a boss if things get really bad. Now, of course, there are more than just these 11 steps and 11 things to get completely self-sufficient and off the grid. But mastering or even just exploring each of these is going to make you less reliant on and finally allow you to escape that 9-to-5 rat race. And by implementing all of them, you will never be a slave to the 9-to-5 again. So what steps are you taking to break free from the system? To pay less tax and to live anywhere in the world you want? Let me know in the comments below. But always remember, the powers that be, the government, the bankers, and the corporate elite, they want you to stay trapped. They want you to remain a slave so that you continue to pad their pockets and give them more power. That's why you should subscribe to Renegade News right now. That way, every week you'll discover the latest infringements and wins in your search for more freedom and liberty in this unfree world. And don't forget to check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'm Glenn Kowalski from Renegade News, and I'll see you over there.